Hello everyone, welcome to another Mythic Plus commentary and Neltharus plus 14 on Tyrannical. A quick look at the gear I used for this run. I have my foreset, I use ashes and peeps for the trinkets, I do not have Grief Torch yet, I will get it next week. I have crafted 2 blue silken linings on cloak and boots, and I have also crafted the engineering braces which completely carried this run. I also have Thorncaller weapon and Eranog ring from bullions. When I use food and runes, I have close to 54% critical strike chance, which means I don't need a crit flask anymore and I can use a versatility one, which completely saved me in this key. This is my standard and plus build with Mortal Dance for Sanguine. You can find it in the description. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and let's get into the video. We start with the first big pool of the dungeon. There are certain points here we need to purge the shields from the elementals, we need to avoid the frontals, and our attention should be on the Thaumaturge mobs, which do this channel for massive damage. We need to stop them with either stun or fear whenever we can, and of course we want to interrupt them whenever they cast this Bolten ability that buffs their elemental and makes them do massive damage. This is gonna be a wipe. Here our tank does not want to go super big because there is Sanguine. We play Mortal Dance of course to reduce the healing on the mobs, but in any case we don't want to stack infinite number of mobs here to get them healed by Sanguine even if it's 50% reduced. Here I get a little bit of aggro at some point, I meld immediately and I pop there. I use all my CC after my damage. Mobs are almost dead, so I do not need to drop darkness here. We did a massive pull here, Destrolock decimates the mobs and we just keep going. I will be using darkness in this pool at some point where I feel that we are out of CC and our tank is in trouble. Maybe the group takes too much damage and we cannot stop them anymore. The Warlock dies here, I don't know what he died to. Maybe the Thaumaturge channel, someone did not interrupt this. Everything is on cooldown for me, Chaos Nova just comes back and I use it. Here I see the tank has a little bit of trouble. He starts kiting a little bit, so I say okay sure, let's give him darkness so he's comfortable to stand in, tank and do as much damage as possible. Tank stabilizes, I get a lot of damage on me. I'm looking to use something here, but the channel is interrupted, so I still have all of my arsenal to survive. There is no danger here. I have a hand coming off cooldown which I'm looking to use, and perhaps the I-beam in a little bit. I can use my other I-beam because in 40 seconds I will line it up again with Metamorphosis, so I should be using this on cooldown. The mobs have plenty of HP. Our tank pulls a lot of mobs here because he wants to skip pulling more dangerous mobs later in the dungeon. To be fair, these mobs don't do too much if there are no elementals around to be buffed. They just do avoidable damage and you have to interrupt the Thaumaturges for the channel. We were constantly chain pulling to get more and more targets to AoE because they don't seem too dangerous and we can control them. My teammates were super nervous that timer is going to be really rough with Sanguine, and they're probably right. Throughout the entire dungeon they kept pushing on chain pulling and adding more and more and keep going and going. Especially at this part here early, you're able to save some time by pulling a lot of mobs and AoEing them down, which are not really that threatening to your group except for the Thaumaturges. Here I have Metamorphosis coming back off cooldown, which I'm going to send immediately. I'm expecting a tight timer due to Sanguine, so I don't hesitate to drop my cooldowns. Here I make a mistake, I don't press the second death sweep after essence break, so I lose a lot of damage. This is a rookie mistake, don't do that. We keep chain pulling here. Now we have the elementals. Now things might get interesting. If Thaumaturges are able to buff them, we need to be careful, but the Thaumaturge goes down, so these elementals don't do anything anymore. This is how these mobs work. The elementals do nothing, the Thaumaturges do a little bit, but when you combine them together, there is the danger of buffing the elemental, which can completely lead to a wipe. Here the mage was screaming, keep pushing, go, more, chain, we need to rush this, go, so the tank follows his orders. We purge the shield from the elemental. The focus of everyone is on the Thaumaturge. We put him on focus to be able to interrupt him. I stop the first channel with Fell Eruption and I'm looking to interrupt his next cast that he's trying to buff the elemental with. I'm popping the hand and I-beam with Essence Break to destroy this pack. Now the focus is again on the Thaumaturge. People are expecting the next cast. I only have Chaos Nova to stop the next cast and I use it right here. Other people overlap Fear with Silence and everything. He's dead, it doesn't really matter, we keep moving. Now some Sanguine pulls drop. My Mortal Dance reduces the effectiveness of the healing. We move to the next boss. These mobs do nothing almost. Our only concern here is not to drop a Sanguine pull on the boss because this boss does a lot of damage and is healing intensive already. We don't want to extend its duration by healing it with Sanguine. We have mobs that we're AoEing right here, we're baiting the charge towards the wall and we're looking to I-beam those mobs down. I have the Essence Break, I'm not sending it, I'm saving it for the boss. This is definitely a mistake, I should have been more patient, wait until the adds are stuck with the boss and Essence Break all of them together. Here I notice the tank changed the mobs away so that they cannot drop a sanguine on the boss, and I say sure, I will taunt one outside, but I taunt the wrong mob. I was not taunting the one that was dying, I was taunting the one at higher HP, and it killed me. And this almost cost us the key, because now they have to combat rest me. This was completely unnecessary. I get up, I'm spamming everything I have again. Now I'm not targeted with lava spray this time. I need to get back into action and pop my meta with all my cooldowns. Here you see the double inertia with metamorphosis. Doing all the damage we can. There's another charge baited in a very bad spot. I have to chase the boss around the room and get back into melee range. Luckily demon hunters have a lot of mobility, so that's not too hard to achieve. I get targeted by lava spray, I can shadow melt this and completely remove it. This is a very powerful ability to remove as a night elf, and I keep doing damage. There's not too much going on. The next big AoE will come. I have to use my blur, protect myself from the damage, and we keep pumping the boss. We're looking good at this stage. Only consider that we have completely wasted a combat race with my unnecessary death, which makes the group vulnerable to early future deaths. Here I bait the charge on the wall. This is a pretty good bait. I have to move out to avoid those swirlies and then move back in. I have another I-beam coming off cooldown and I will send it. I still have Netherwalk and Hellstone and Pot, so I'm looking pretty good. I can survive here pretty easily. I essence break and vengeful retreat through the boss. And here we don't have much going on. The boss does not do any mechanics. It will do the big AoE in a little bit. Do I choose to nether this? Here it would make sense. Here I refreshed my augment rune. I use the netherwork for this to completely immune the initial damage, which is the highest damage you can get. I get another charge, I backflip to dodge it, and here something weird happens. The charge is completely bugged and it swaps on the priest and kills him. This is very unfortunate because the boss is still at 25% plus and would have no healer. He will heal in the guardian angel form for a little bit longer and then we're out. And we have to survive on our own, which is pretty hard on a tyrannical boss, especially on this mammoth. And this is very annoying because, like I said earlier, I wasted the combat race and we could have rested healer here and would be fine. Now here we have to press every defensive and see how much we can survive. I press darkness here, perhaps I could use that a little bit earlier. I could have saved the initial tick on my teammates. I'm almost dead here, I use my pot, this is my last line of defense. I get targeted by lava spray and I think this is it. I'm dead, there's no way I can survive this. My Warlock and my Mage are still alive, they will pump as much damage as they can into the boss. The Warlock slowly dies from the decay damage. The Mage is able to survive for a little bit longer, but not for too long. He will die exactly when the boss is at 5%, and luckily our Defensive Demon Hunter was able to completely solo the boss from 5%. We definitely had a rough start, but we did not give up. We released. I had some time until the tank walks here, so I sat down and eat to get the food buff again because it was for free. Then we move into the next pool, we pop everything here, every cooldown, metamorphosis and burst those mobs. We did not use a chain here, I'm not sure why. The tank gathered the mobs away from the chain. We could have used one chain here, but we did not. In any case, with all cooldowns, this pack completely disappears and we're able to move on. The Phoenix mobs do not really do much, you just AoE them down. The hunters are very dangerous, they jump on you and leave a bleed, which you definitely pop a personal for, and they also throw the spears, which are completely one shot if they hit you in higher keys, so you need to avoid them. Hunters are super high priority and you need to kill them as fast as possible. In the next packs you have the trainees, which do not really do much, they just do frontal that you have to avoid. Then there is the mini boss, which you need to interrupt to stop his AoE, and generally speaking you will be getting the chains here and you're trying to burst those mobs when you hit them with the chains here. I grab a chain and I stun them. With the chain the mobs take 150% extra damage, so you most of the time want to line your essence break to hit within that window to do massive burst AoE. I managed this pretty good here, so with only one essence break I get up to 1 million DPS, which is pretty good. In this pack you want to prioritize the mini boss. It has tons of HP, so you wanna be killing it at some point. You need to focus it down with essence break and any other single target you have, maybe Grief Torch later on if you get that trinket. This is really good. You keep dodging the frontals from the Magma Fist. We will be getting the Menders as well, which will doing the mending kick. That here I stop with Fell Eruption on my focus target, and we got another I-beam coming, and Metamorphosis coming off cooldown in 30 seconds, so I remember here myself strategizing. I'm saying this pool is almost dead, we will do another big pool, and then we're going into the boss, so I will probably send Metamorphosis right here on the big pool, and Metamorphosis will come back off cooldown when I reach the intermission of the boss where he takes double damage, so I will be using that there. So I hold the I-beam here to use Metamorphosis on this big pool, and then expecting Metamorphosis to come back in the intermission of the boss. This can be a dangerous pool. There are frontals, there's the hunters jumping around, there are the menders, there is the sanguine pools everywhere, so you need to be a little bit careful. You hope that someone is going to use the chain, someone did, so we do a lot of burst damage here and completely annihilate this pack with all cooldowns timed exactly on the chain. We have the Metamorphosis stun, we have the Shadow Fury stun, and the mobs don't really get to play the game a lot. They just sit in CC and take damage, so we're executing this pool really good, and we're trying to manage the sanguine pools now. The tank is moving the mobs around. The Mortal Strike effect from my Mortal Dance talent really helps. We are doing this pretty cleanly and getting ready for the boss. In this boss, as a melee, I want to be breaking chains as fast as possible, so I'm able to move and do damage to the boss during the intermission. I'm not pinned down by the chain, unable to do anything, so most of the time I tell people in advance, hey, I will be breaking the chains first, so please wait, let me do this so I can move and do DPS, and as you might see, some people do not really respect that. We pull the boss, Mage pops Bloodlust to get it on cooldown. We don't have too many cooldowns at this moment, but we have to send it. There's no option to keep it because we want to send it as many times as possible. Here we will get the frontal from the boss, then there is the jump. Really the boss is a hunter, he emulates the abilities of the hunters and the magma fists from the previous mobs. I have not seen the jump targeting melee ever unless all the range are dead, so normally you don't have to worry about it. You want to keep your defensives for the spear because the spear does a lot of damage. Here you see I pop Blair and I backflip immediately to get outside. I see that someone rushed in and broke his chain, so even though I said I will break first, I waited until the dot is out. We don't want to stack the dots. The last chain will be broken soon and we will get the extra damage on the boss, so I do the double inertia to send an I-beam on the boss with an essence break. I time it pretty nicely and the warlock dies. I think he got hit by a pool. I find him, I focus him and I rest him with the engineering braces, which is how the key is saved. If we had no engineering braces at this stage, we would not be able to rest the warlock and the key would be bricked. But yet, here we are, keep going. Dodge the frontal, we will get the jump really soon on one of our ranged, and we keep pumping. Now Metamorphosis is coming off cooldown really soon, so I know after the second intermission of this boss, I will be using this Metamorphosis to do double damage and completely annihilate the boss and hopefully skip the third intermission. The boss almost reaches max energy, so the intermission is coming. I don't have Blair quite yet. I've used Netherwork just to be 100% sure that nothing is going to go wrong. Here someone else rushes in and breaks the chain immediately. I wait, I don't use my I-beam, I break the second chain, and now I'm ready to do the double inertia to do the Metamorphosis combo right when the third chain is broken. I time it very well here, and the double death sweep is gonna hit for massive damage. I explode in the middle, still not able to catch up to the fire mage potential. And the boss drops very fast. So here the hand comes as well, and I send everything within the damage window. Everything should be under control. We will get some frontals, we will get some spears, and we should be pumping the boss. I don't have anything else, everything is on cooldown and was executed pretty smoothly to do max damage. The mage has combustion really soon. The warlock has dark soul, I don't know if he's going to pop it. We're getting close to 100% energy, so I was wrong. Another intermission will happen. I have Blair for this one, and I will have an essence break combo and probably the hand at the end of the intermission to finish the boss. Here the boss reaches 100 energy, the grounding spear comes, I pop Blair to defend myself. I suspect that someone will again break their chains first like they did the previous two intermissions, so I wait patiently, I fell rust away even. Now that the dot is over, I move over the boss and I wait for the final chain to break, and when it does, I will send my essence break. Like right here, exactly timed perfectly, and now the hand comes in, I send it immediately, and the final inertia with the throw glaive and the blade dance will finish off the boss. Right after the second boss, we are dealing with the same mobs, the hunters, the trainees, the phoenixes, and the menders. And here we will have another chain we will use to completely annihilate these mobs with another essence break. I'm popping everything here. Perhaps I could have said for Metamorphosis at this stage, and it would be right, because I ended up holding Metamorphosis for far too long. My thought process here was that the warlock popped absolutely everything and I had a lot of immolation or approach. I could do a lot of damage without Metamorphosis and let the warlock carry this pack so I can carry the next one. However, you see this pack took so long, we're even getting closer to the next I-beam. This is 40 seconds after the previous one, and I'm considering here whether I should send this I-beam as well, because we're going to climb the staircase and this is going to be a lot of time, and perhaps I can squeeze one extra I-beam in. So this was a confirmation that I should have used Metamorphosis earlier. We're cleaning this pack and we're climbing up the ladder to get to the next one. As you see, I-beam is back off cooldown while we were climbing the ladder, so I have absolutely everything here again with DPS potion and trinket and metamorphosis, do double inertia and pop absolutely everything to destroy this pack here. In this pack you have the flares, which are constantly casting those melt abilities that can completely destroy your teammates. You need to kick as many of them as possible. You can Chaos Nova, you can fear them. The tank will grip them and silence them and everything. The lava monsters are not too dangerous. They have some frontals, they have the throw lava which you need to dodge, but nothing too crazy that cannot be avoided. This moat ability is also dangerous. You can kick it every now and then, but it's not the end of the world. I would say melt is even worse. At least you can react to this moat ability. It leaves a dot that you need to pop a personal for. Moving on, we want to skip the mini boss by hiking to the right. We can also skip this pack here because we pulled a lot of mobs earlier at the beginning of the dungeon, so we immediately go to this pack right before the third boss. We have a lot of elementals here, we have the frontals, we have the lava monsters, we need to avoid all of those things. And now we also have the blacksmiths, which do the Fort Stomp AoE that we just need to tank with personals and with raid cooldowns to survive and just heal through it. We want to focus them down. Here you see me focus the elementals because I'm trying to control as many casts as possible. I managed to land one there, I still have a failure option to stop another one. Most of them are dead, so we are safe in that regard. But then we have the frontals, we have the lava monsters, and we have the Fort Stomp from the blacksmith, which is the highest HP mob at this stage that we need to focus right here. I have another I-beam coming off cooldown and I will send it immediately because it will line up with metamorphosis in another 30 seconds. This blacksmith has still a lot of HP and we want to kill him and move on to the next pack. Looking at our cooldowns, we will be having metamorphosis to go really ham on the next pack. It will not be available right at the beginning, but we will get it right in the middle of the pack, so we will be able to blast it and quickly push through it. This new mob, the Bone Splitter, does the Pierce Marrow, which we can stun, fear or dodge to avoid it. There is another blacksmith mob here that will be pulled from downstairs, and when everything is stacked, I wanna pop my meta and go super ham on these mobs. Here everything is lined up, I do the double inertia, I eventually retreat inside with Essence Break and do the double Death Strip combo, stun everything with Metamorphosis and go ham. Now that all my big abilities are on cooldown, I should be looking to CC and stop some casts here. The mobs are still silenced, so I don't use my Chaos Nova yet, now I use it because the silence was going off. Sigil of Flame comes back, the hand, I fell rush through to spread it, and I come back with Fellblade, and here I will be looking to use my Sigil of Misery. The mobs are about to cast in a little bit. I use Sigil of Misery here a little bit late, so most of the casts got through. That was a little bit bad from my side. I keep pumping everything. Again, we have the Blacksmith, which casts Fort Stomp. This mob has a lot of HP. Ideally, this needs to be focused. Here we have a mob at 2%, so we want to finish it off and then kill the Blacksmith as the last mob of the pack. Here our tank chooses not to clear the other pack with the 3 mobs, which is inefficient, that's true, but it's very annoying as Havoc to fight this boss without having full room to fell rush through. In the first AoE I pop Blur. In this boss we will be taking massive damage and we need to rotate defensive cooldowns properly, so Blur saves me from the first AoE. Here I have only a pixel to avoid the swirlies and stay alive. I use the hand whenever the boss jumps. Be careful, do not use Fellblade or any other movement. You might end up on top of your tank and getting cleaved down. This has happened to me and it's not nice. We have another I-beam coming soon. We want to use this to line it up with Metamorphosis in the next 40 seconds. We use Darkness for the second AoE here. An important tip is that Darkness slightly alters the color of the swirlies, so if you are trying to avoid damage while staying inside Darkness, be mindful that you might die to the swirlies if they pop on you. In this boss as Havoc you take massive damage and on top of that you have a lot of things to dodge, so it's a good idea, generally speaking, to use your mobility when there are no swirlies around and try to stay stationary when there are swirlies around. This is getting even harder if the tank chooses to not pull the half mobs of the room. This will constrict your space even further. In the next AoE we pop another Blur and we're getting ready to pop Metamorphosis really soon when I-beam is back off cooldown. We do not hold the hand here, we send the hand, there is no point delaying it. Luckily I don't get targeted by the shield because I've been taking too much damage already. The Warlock dies from the shield as I'm ready to pop meta. I have to combat the Warlock with Engineering Bracers, which again save the day. This would be another place where the key might be bricked. Here, sadly, I have to do my opener during the Swirlish phase. I do some acrobatics here. I cancel the I-beam because I'm about to get hit by a swirly. Do not try this at home. Here I decide to pop Netherwork just to be sure I don't have any other cooldown. Maybe I could have potted to stay aggressive and keep spamming damage. but I decided to not do that, and here I will be hit by the shield and I even Hellstone. I played very safe, as you see here, because I feel like our priest is struggling, keep us up, and people have been dying all over the place. Here the mage pops the Bloodlust on cooldown. This is definitely not an effective Bloodlust, but it's the one we need. It will help the healer keep us up. And there is another AoE coming here. Blur is coming off cooldown. I'm smashing it to defend myself. As you see, I've been using Blur every second AoE ability, and then in between I've been using other defensives like Darkness and Netherwalk. This was a pretty good cooldown management. I managed to survive, although this boss hits for tons. We don't have the best gear yet and it's tyrannical. We only had the Warlock die and we rest him with the engineering bracers. Here I don't have too much damage left. We try to finish the boss. I hope the casters have damage because everything is on cooldown for me, and we were going to go through another AoE phase. The only ability I have left is my healing potion, and I will pop it here to stay topped. I don't want to risk dying, and we're finishing the boss. The Warlock puts a gateway that we can take to go upstairs. We skip the mini-boss and we snap these two mobs downstairs. These two Lavamancers, we don't really touch them too much. I just throw a glaive and a blade dance and we jump down to snap them. But here, unfortunately, the Warlock decides to sit there, plant and cast Chaos Bolts on them. So they swap on him, they kill him, and even worse, they reset aggro. So they do not snap downstairs. This means that we have to fight 3 mobs here instead of 5, which is inefficient. We send every cooldown and we focus down the bird while trying to avoid the frontals from the other mobs. Now the bird does this AoE, you wanna blur for it and use any cooldown if you don't have blur. This hurts a lot. The other mobs don't do much really, they're primarily tank busters. So you just focus the bird, and once the bird is dead, we'll also start moving towards the next pack. Now we also have to account for the percentage that we lost from the mobs that did not nap downstairs, and we have to pull some extra trash down the line so that we can account for it and reach the 100% trash percentage. You may notice that I did a lot of damage in this pack with Metamorphosis. The 3 targets is the ideal count for Havoc because all of them get Burning Wound, and Throwglyphs hit all 3 targets, both the normal ones and the extra ones from the tier set, and they leave the Soul Scar debuff. We here move on to the next mobs. Here the Lavamancer is our priority. I'm not sure if the tank is going to chain. This is not 100% sure, he does. So since he did, the bird is the priority, and wherever a Lavamancer gets a shield, we need to swap to him, break his shield and interrupt his cast. This is the order of priority here. We need to dodge the frontals. We're hitting the bird, which does the AoE. I blur it again, and I'm getting ready here because I know one of the Lavamancers is going to shield himself really soon. I swap to the Lavamancer, we want to break his shield and the cast is interrupted, so we don't need to stay on him. We swap to the other Lavamancer, which is now shielded. He's trying to cast the Molten Army. The shield is broken and we interrupt him so we can go back to the bird. Finish off the bird, which is really low HP, and then clear the pack. Here I decide to send the Essence Break to finish the pack because I don't want to cast Metamorphosis at the beginning of the fight. I want to hold it for the extra damage phase after the first shield. The extra damage phase happens after 40 seconds into the fight, and then it happens roughly every 40 seconds. So you want to have I-Beam Essence Break for every single one of them. And if you don't cast Metamorphosis right on pull, you want to cast it exactly at the 40-second marker and then at the 2-minute marker, which is 3 times 40, which is the 4th extra damage phase, which we might not get here. But this is the strategy I followed. I held Metamorphosis, so I'm not gonna send I-Beam, because if I send I-Beam here, I will not have it for the extra damage phase, and I'm looking to do a double death sweep inside the extra damage window. So I'm holding here to get the treasure. I have the wand, which is the easiest one to break the shield. The ad will spawn soon. Here it's very important to swap to the ad, because when the shield phase happens, you don't want to have the ad alive. I most of the time stun it with Fell Eruption if necessary. Now the DH slowed it, so there is no need. We kill it, it's almost dead. We use the wand here and we prepare to cast absolutely everything, the hand and the Essence Break with a double death sweep. Sadly I don't have the DPS potion, it's still on 2-second cooldown. I'm sending everything here, so I will also have I-Beam Essence Break for the next extra damage phase after the next shield. This is a really important pattern to take into consideration here. I get targeted by Molten Gold, there is some damage on me, I use Blur to help with that. The next ad is spawning, and in 20 seconds now the next shield will be up, and we will be using the Essence Break on the extra damage phase again to do massive damage. The ad is on me, I stun it, the shield is here, now I have the roses, so I need to be close to melee range. Then the boss gets stunned, it's a little bit less than 40 seconds. Here I don't have time to cast the inertia, I need to send the essence break inside the extra damage phase. The window is short, I need to take advantage of it, and again in another 40 seconds the next extra damage window will be up, so I have to send I-beam off cooldown as fast as possible so I have it available in that next window. From here onwards we rinse and repeat. The group seems more than capable of handling this boss. Have the burst ready for the next phase. We're waiting to get the next ad. Here I move out a little bit preemptively to get the treasure, and I bait the ad outside, which is not the best idea. Here I get on the ad, the tank will bring the boss close to the ad for extra cleave. I stun the ad, be careful not to get clipped by the patches that it leaves on the ground. I have the wand, which is the easy one. Again, extra damage phase with inertia this time. I can send the essence break and the death sweep inside the extra damage phase to completely annihilate the boss, and the fight is over. And now we only have one thing left. We have that little percentage that we lost because the mobs upstairs were not snapped downstairs because Warlock had aggro on them and they killed him, so we make a quick work of them and we finish the key. Overall this key had a lot of mistakes, it was pretty messy, we saved it twice with engineering bracers, and we had a lot of DPS to push through the timer. For anyone wondering, this is the damage breakdown. I did the most, Mage completely carried the single target, Warlock was dead half the key, and this is what my damage looks like if you wanna compare with yours to improve your gameplay. If you want to see my Mythic Plus guide for Havoc in Dragonflight Season 4, then click the video on screen or the link in the description. Don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one!